Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montavilla Sewing Center, and today we're going to talk about sewing buttons on using your sewing machine. Now, there are different machines and different ways of sewing, so we're going to start out with this fairly simple sewing machine. This happens to be the Baby Lock Zest. Now, this machine does not have the capability of lowering the feed dogs. Instead, in your accessories, you have this little plate like this. And I'm going to take off the foot so you can see how I'm attaching it. These little knobs go into those holes right there. So we put that on like that. And then I want to pull up my bobbin thread through that plate. So I'm going to take a stitch like this. There we go. That pulls up my bobbin thread. So now that won't be caught in there. Put the foot back on. And you don't need to take the foot off in order to do this. I just did it for educational purposes. Now, when you start sewing, you're going to be in stitch A most likely. So we want to go over to zigzag. And zigzag has some variable width right here, which is good because not all buttons have the same width between the holes. Now, I like using Scotch tape to hold my button in place. So I'll show you this. Take a little piece of tape. And we're not sewing through the tape, we're just sewing. I'm going to put the tape on either side, that just holds it in place. So if you can see that, that's how I did that. Okay. Now next, we want to make sure that when we've got it in zigzag, that the needle is just going to go right cleanly into the hole of the button on both sides. So on the other side, that's a little bit narrow. I'm going to make it a little bit wider. And notice I'm using my hand wheel, so I'm doing it by hand until I make sure that that needle is not hitting the button at all. Now I'm going to make several, just taking it slow. And at that point, stop with the needle up and the presser foot, or the foot control. Take up lever up. And the beginning threads, those have been sewn across. So you can just cut those off. So I cut them off before I even take the thread and cut it from the machine. At this point, I cut it from the machine. I'm going to pull my thread to the back, and I would tie that in a knot, and that would secure my button. Then take the tape off, and there you go. So you can do that with several buttons. Just tape them in the right place and sew them on with your cover plate on. So that is how to sew on your buttons using the Baby Lock Zest.